listen. Yes, at Monday. Kidding, I don't know how to use anything on the phone except. It's easy. It's easy. I read everything is if you know how to do it. You know,
You never start on time.
Did she ever bring over
oh, I got it.
This is dead. Okay, I don't have a key from Corbin.
But you know your tongue is.
Unless she brought it over and I'm not seeing it.
It's not. It's not. Stuff that you can't just. Same thing with this. It's not that you're very powerful here unless you do it by the book. You're more than we don't need that. He goes into the therapy and counseling. Figure that one out.
Tony told him, he says it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. He goes, you need to use patience. If you use your patience, you will be walking again. And please, he goes, you mess this up, there is no repair. So, but the surgeon told him he 100% can't explain how he missed the year. I can, but that's right.
What time of Kathy being?
Probably another hour.
We don't have to do
You
this
ran out of
tomorrow.
gas, just not the fuel. He had a jug of fun.
I'll get it done this week sometime.
Not a big deal. I said, if you're not busy tomorrow, you can just stop by and we can do this.
I think the main thing I got tomorrow, I got a guy picking up a gun around 10:30. After that, I could come over. 10:30, 11
Don't you
o'clock.
have an email?
Huh?
Don't you have a, do you want to print it out so you can mail it in, or you want to send it back in?
I want to send it in
Oh,
because it says it takes them. I got to get a shipping. Well,
okay. You shipping stuff in that? Is that what it is?
that's why I got to have that RA form or that return form.
You know, park lot. That blows up in it. What's up with that, Pam?
The camera is dead, where I need to get the piece for it.
Is this on YouTube?
It should be, yes.
Do you want me to record this?
Yes, just in case. Please.
Recording in progress.
That's the only thing that's here. I don't know, I just follow them in here too.
Your father back if you
Kathy's recording this, so.
Yeah, that's fine, they're just not gonna be able to do it. I don't know where.
Or,
I just played it with the plugs in there. Doesn't look like it's up to code.
Okay. I don't know if this is. No. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Can we start while you're doing that?
Yeah, go ahead. Can you use the camera on the computer? It's not working. I tried that already. I don't know if it's because we're doing this.
Kathy, you ready?
Yeah, I'm set.
No, okay. You good to go, Miranda, without the camera?
Go ahead, I'm gonna
Keep working on it?
with it, yep.
Okay. All right, let's start the meeting. If everyone stand, join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Linda, your physical inventory's done? I got it on the computer. I'll send it out.
Is it like an Excel or?
It's an Excel
Okay, so
spreadsheet,
you
yeah.
can email it to
I
us.
just found it on my computer when I looked at your thing. I'll send it out probably tonight.
And do we have a number on our statements that say what our equipment values are so that you're comparing it to see that we're not?
No, we didn't do a value. We did I had them inventory all the electronics, anything valuable, and we put barcodes on it. We put
Well,
up
yes,
barcodes.
so what you should have a fixed asset inventory list
Yeah,
from, I
we
would
did.
assume Williamson, but maybe it was you might keep it in some other system. But there should be a fixed asset list that as we purchase it, so that we can
Yeah.
compare and make sure we have everything we purchased.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Okay. Asset values or prices yet? Is that what you're saying?
Just quantity, because the value, your accountants are taking care of when they amortize your fixed asset, but you want to know that we have accounted for everything we purchased.
The claim voucher forms, comptroller said that cover sheet we have, when the board approves it, when we sign off on the, each board member signs off, that's all that needs to be done.
Yeah, but on there, I was gonna try to get a copy, but Pam's busy. So on that form, based on this from the state, right, it says that there's certain sign-offs that are supposed to happen. Like there's, I don't remember exactly how it's worded, but right underneath all the information, the very first paragraph there says, I, so-and-so, there's a blank, basically verify that we have received the goods or services that are on this invoice. That is supposed to be signed by whoever is confirming that either the service was performed or the goods were received, so that when it gets to us to look at the invoice, we know that we actually have it here.
Oh, so you mean like when the voucher comes in, or when the invoice comes in? I know what you're talking about, the bottom of the sheet?
Yes.
So the department head, whoever's the department head.
Whoever receives it.
Whoever
It may or may not be the department head. That's the first signature. And then on the very bottom, there's two signatures, one on the right and one on the left. The one on the left is the department head saying that he or she is confirming that the account number that's listed is correct, that is the line that item was budgeted from. That should also be signed according to the state. Then I think it's you, maybe it's a board member, I can't remember. The third box is confirmation, I think, that it was paid or approved to be paid. Then that should be signed. And each one of those signatures should be on every single voucher, every single claim voucher. I don't have, oh, you want this, Steve? Sorry.
I just wondered if you had what you were talking
No, I
about. I
don't.
wanted to see the,
I could go,
Got that on
we
you.
could have Pam
Okay.
grab a
I
voucher.
know we specifically talked about that with Lou, and she said your cover sheet negates having to sign each voucher. The board signing off.
The cover sheet is the one that has to be
Yeah.
signed, and that says it right in here. And I talked to Lori at the Association of Towns, and she confirms the same thing.
Okay.
And it says, I don't remember exactly where in here, but it talks about having to, confirm, because just because somebody writes an account number on the invoice itself doesn't necessarily mean they're saying the item came in. I mean, they're not actually signing a legal statement saying that they're vouching for the fact that either that's goods or service is here in the town.
Okay.
So I think in fact, you guys probably got your thing like this. They're in here, the town of Hampersfield, they got written up in their audit for not doing that. So we didn't get audited on claim vouchers this time, but if we do, we're gonna fail it, just like this town did. Because we do it sometimes, but not every time. So I think it's important that we get in the habit of doing it, and it confirms that somebody has checked that information.
I don't think that was ever brought up in the past.
Well, it probably wasn't, Steve, because if you weren't audited, you might not necessarily, but this, and I'll leave this with you guys, it's in this book, I think I just copied it out, I found it online. It was we get an email from the state telling us what audits were released. That came out in the last one or two. And that audit was specifically about claimed voucher review.
Okay, because I've never seen it before or heard about it until.
This audit?
No, what you were talking about,
Oh.
signing and
Yeah, because
verification.
But if you look at the form, those signatures are there for a reason. We just kind of got lazy about it, which it happens a lot. I just think we need to get better about it and start confirming it before we get audited on that. Because sooner or later they come around and audit you on everything. And, we just haven't
Says right here, the board signs the abstracts, but there wasn't enough detail, so.
Mhm. And I believe in either this one or that, I think in this one from the state, it also says that every voucher should have, it tells you what it's supposed to have, but it is supposed to have a copy of the invoice. So sometimes if you have an invoice that's split between two vouchers, we just do the one voucher. I'm sorry, the one voucher has the invoice, the other voucher is just a voucher. You have to make a copy and put it with it. And part of that reasoning is if you somehow lose the first voucher that has the invoice, now you don't have the invoice anywhere. So it is kind of a pain in the neck, but they have, believe me, they have these processes, procedures for a reason.
All right. Kathy, you there?
Yes.
Do you have any update on Drescher Malecki on the contract?
Yes, she said that it was written the way that it was, in other words, 2024 and 2025, in the event that they weren't able to complete everything by year end of 2024. But what the services they are going to perform are the 3 services that were bulleted and identified in response to our RFP. So, it is just the basically reconciling and what we asked them to do for year end 2022 through year end 2023.
Okay.
So it wasn't anything more than what we had asked. It's just like I said, she included through 2025 in the event that they didn't finish it by December 31st of 2024.
So are we good with that? I can sign off on that?
Yes, you can sign off on that.
And I'm sorry, Kathy, the number 1 under services, the reconciling of the bank is going to be through like now, right? Through August.
Yes.
Okay. Kathy, you didn't by any chance weren't able to talk to them about their start date, were you?
She said they could start as soon as they get the agreement back, and then they'll start gathering the information.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was a 4-week.
That's what she said. She said 4 weeks.
Yeah.
To schedule this thing.
Okay.
She said she'll come out, get copies of what she needs, but it's probably going to take her 3 or 4 weeks to get us into the rotation. So if she can do it quicker, she's going to do it quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, what she said to me was once we have a signed letter, she can request the schedule to be modified. She's already communicated this to the managing partner, so they anticipated shifting their September schedule around to get started on this.
Okay. What do we want to do for bookkeeper going forward? When I talked to Nicole at Drescher, they do the town of Wales. I think they're at, she said approximately 60 grand without payroll.
Did she say how much time, like what she's basing that off of, like how many hours a week?
What I have here is Wales pays $63,000 a year without payroll. Boston pays $12,000, 8 hours a month for $12,000. So I asked her, I said, how much more will payroll be? She said anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a year. So I said, we're looking at $75,000 a year. She goes, that's probably a good figure to guesstimate on. And I asked her for RFP also on this. She just got busy with this other stuff, so she hasn't gotten back to me. But you guys got the LGSS one. You all should have LGSS.
So Scott, you said Nicole said 8 hours a month?
That's what they do for part-time for the town of Boston,
And how much was that one?
$12,000 a year. 8 hours a month. When she did a presentation, 8 hours a month, $12,000 a year.
My guess, Kathy, is that's a review, right? They probably have somebody on site that does it, and then
Yeah.
Drescher Malecki just comes in and reviews the work, maybe reconciles the bank account, but the day-to-day inputting is probably done by somebody on site. There's no way you could do this in 12 hours a month.
And the other thing we probably need to, Kathy, when you talked to Nicole, did you explain to her that Miranda won't be here? Because she was counting on Miranda and making the entries into the book. She was gonna give
I
Miranda
did
the
not.
information. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to tell her that. I forgot all about that. That may increase the price a little bit, but it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done. So,
Could we get more, estimates on a full-time outsourcing, or, I mean?
well, we got the one from LGSS, and then Drescher Malecki, when she told me it was like, she said 60 to 75,000. I go,
I think the last time we checked here a year or so ago, it was like 26,000, somewhere around there.
from where?
It was, I think, former councilman, John Pratt checked out. It was somewhere in,
Millennium, probably.
no, it was in Rochester, some firm in Rochester.
The same outfit that Town of Murray has.
LGSS? Yeah, that's that one that's on the sheet right there. Yeah. That's with all the other towns, yeah, LGSS.
So let me
Local Government Support Services, that was in there.
let me ask some questions about that. So, do they have people local, like LGSS? Do they have people that are going to come on site 1 day a week or 2 days a week?
They would have to as we needed them.
I mean, like on a weekly basis to put the invoices in, because otherwise, my only concern was somebody that doesn't plan on coming here into the building. What does the workflow look like for invoices and approvals? Right, like how are you going to get them the invoices? How are they going to get how are the approvals going to happen and the claim vouchers being done? How are we going to review stuff for payment if everything is somewhere else? How are the checks going to get cut? Are they going to cut checks?
Miranda's staying on part-time. Certain checks Miranda's gonna have to cut, the checks that we cut here, and she's gonna have to stuff the envelopes to mail the checks out. So, part-time, Miranda would.
But that's, now you're getting into bookkeeping
Yeah,
again.
she wouldn't be doing no bookkeeping though. She'll cut the checks and do the other stuff.
But that's the same thing. I mean, that's part of a bookkeeping service. Well, usually you want to,
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion. You want to, if you don't have somebody that's doing it and you got somebody cutting checks, then you don't know. I'd rather see one firm, if we're paying a firm to do it, have them do it from start to finish. So if
Well,
LGSS can't be on site, if they're going to send somebody to sit here 2 days a week and process the invoices and cut the checks, I guess fine, but I don't, it's not something you can do remote 100%. There's going to be a need to be in the building at some point, at least 1, maybe 2 days a week.
well, I think, I'm just going by what we were talking about last month.
Mhm.
We were talking about, we decided to go with Malecki here, right?
Yep.
And you also said that you wouldn't have any problem
I
with
didn't realize,
LGSS.
correct, I didn't realize they were in Syracuse, and I don't have a problem with
No,
that. If they're going to,
they're in Rockport also.
oh, okay, then if they're going to send somebody here, it's
Yeah.
got to be somebody that comes here.
Well, I'm just going by what we were
Yes,
talking about.
and I don't have a
last
problem with that then, as long as they're going to send somebody
month. I was
else.
just thinking too, I mean, they're just going over the reports that I've seen too. So. No, I understand what you're saying.
I will.
Because
And I can't answer that
as soon as you
because I
start
haven't talked to them.
as soon as you start mixing people in, mistakes happen and everybody's doing this.
I will.
And now you don't have, so it needs to be one person responsible for the entering of the invoices. And they need to be here on site for us to be able to review for the board meetings. So as long as they can do that,
How many days were you saying?
I think they need to be here too.
A week?
2 days a week. Because they can come in, they might, let's say they come in on a Tuesday, and they might pick up all the mail, get all the invoices, take them back, spend a day at their office working on whatever.
Do you wanna,
But then they gotta get approvals from people, and then they gotta do the claim vouchers and cut the checks once they're approved.
do you wanna do an email back to LGSS and ask those questions?
Yep.
Just copy us in on it?
Yep.
You know what to ask.
Yep.
I will shoot you, you got,
So they have an office in Brockport?
I think it's Brock.
Okay, well then that should hopefully work for them then.
I thought it was Brock. It's a local number, so.
Okay.
I'll find, her phone number and I'll forward that to you too.
And they're not, if we were to go with LGSS, they're not changing our software, right?
I don't know, what did that,
It did say something about AF Anywhere. I believe that's just a software. When I looked into it more, it looks like just a software for them to access our system remotely.
okay, is that what that is? All right.
But now we're into the same concerns you had about Williamson accessing our documents remotely.
Yeah.
So, again, I think they need to really be here.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
You type up that,
Yeah.
whatever pertinent questions there are.
Yep.
I'll sign the contract, get it to Kathy and her. Oh, yes, inventory, I'll send that out tonight. Vouchers.
So before you got here, Scott said he's got the fixed asset inventory that he's gonna send out to the board.
That's everything I had. What do you got anything, Linda? Anything else?
Yeah, so at one point, several, I don't know, 4 or 5 meetings ago, there somehow policies came up. And Darlene said you had looked at some of them, or she had given you the policies, but you asked her how old they were. She said they were all quite old.
Yeah.
I think we need to consider putting a workshop out there to sit down and review policies and get them, more current.
Yeah, some of those were from like the 2000s.
Yeah.
She was going through them.
So I think we need to look at that.
That was something that the clerk said, right?
Yeah.
Darlene brought that up.
Yeah, there was I don't remember what the question was, but there was something, policies came up and it came out that some of them are kind of old. So at the same time with that, I would say that the other thing we really should do is bid out our insurance every 3 years. At least you should go back to the market and bid out your insurance again. So we should consider
I thought we
putting,
were doing that.
I don't know.
There's only so much we can do because we're bound by the union contract. But
Yeah,
we can bid out
Yeah,
under their
but I think
guidelines.
we can I think we should put out an RFP and see if there's any, just to be sure, it keeps the current company on their toes to make sure that they're not getting a little too comfortable with us.
It's like any insurance.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that was recommended in the training by the state that we should be looking at that. So the health insurance, the liability insurance, and honestly, they said you should look at your bank just to see if the bank is giving you the best deal for, I don't know how much are we keeping at the bank?
Just enough, she transfers enough to pay bills. Everything else
So
is in New York class.
So we don't have really,
No.
it's a very low amount there.
I think it's less than 50 grand in
Okay.
there, just to pay the bills. When I checked, were you in there? No.
No, I wasn't on that one.
Last week, I think we're at $44,000 in interest on class, New York class, since we got in. I'll have it for the board,
Okay.
health, and
Okay, so the other thing is, I did have a chance to speak with Williamson, and we talked only about 2024, because Ted said he had not really been apprised of any issues. He knew there was something with 2023, but he had not been asked to look at anything, he had not been involved in anything. So just for the 2024, when we were talking last month or a couple weeks ago about the January and February balancing, what he was saying is the activity for those months are balanced. So the ending balances are not necessarily correct. But what he was trying to say is every transaction that happened in January has been recorded. Same thing with February. That should help us once Drescher and Malecki gets 2023 done, that at least the work for 24 is staying current. The other thing he said was the starting balance that he pulled off the bank statement that you mentioned. He started with the January 1st starting balance in the bank, and I asked about the outstanding checks. He took that into account. So he said because they were doing this in late July, early August, he could see what checks had cleared so far this year that were cut in 2023. So when he took the starting bank balance, he subtracted all those checks out because they technically were from last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So but we still have a discrepancy between December 31st bank statement and the number he came up with when he went through that exercise. So Drescher Malecki still has work to do. So this is not about stopping them. The other thing we talked about was apparently, Scott, you had mentioned there were some issues with the way the numbers transfer from the water system to your books, okay? So he said part of that's creating the problem is when you accept credit cards, the credit card company is holding the money. So let's say you process $5,000 worth of credit cards today, right? So your books say you got $5,000, but the bank doesn't get the money. They get the MasterCard and Visa might show up in 2 days. The Discover might show up 3 or 4 days later, and the American Express might show up 7 days later. So it's very difficult to reconcile cash accounts when you've got that kind of thing because it's a rolling, okay? So I use where I am right now, there are credit card processing companies out there that give you your money the next day, no matter what card it's on. So if you charge $5 today, if you accept $5 today, you're getting $5 tomorrow. The only difference would be as if it was a weekend, right? Then it would all show up on Monday. But there's no timing, so we're not giving up the float of having our money to the credit card company. I reached out to the company I work with where I am now is called Genesis PPG. They're in Buffalo. And I called just to see, do they do municipalities? And he said he could. So I didn't go any farther just to ask if they did it. I think it's something you really want to look into because it will keep the flow going and it makes it a lot less difficult to reconcile your bank accounts.
Yeah, because they're making.
And they're making money.
They're making money off of us because they're waiting a week.
Yeah, there's got to be a fee that we're paying Genesis too, I would think.
You do pay Genesis a little bit of a fee, but I don't think it's no more than what you're paying right now. I would. The other thing is some companies, and I don't know because I haven't seen your bank statement. Some companies each day they deposit money, they take a fee out that day. Genesis will take your fee out once a month at the end of the month. So the last day of the month, they just take, here's the fee for the whole month, and here it is. Again, it makes it a heck of a lot easier when you're reconciling your bank that you don't see so much activity in there. So I can see if I can get them to make a presentation, explain, I've used it. It's a very easy system.
And that's for receiving payments?
It's for It's for receiving credit card payments.
So like when they're paying their water bills.
Yes. Do you have any reason, Scott, or does Miranda take credit cards for anything?
No.
So it just would be the water then, so it would just affect Beth?
Yeah, it's just Beth and Darlene that take the cash.
Okay.
Well, Pam would know. Is there credit cards used for anything else, Pam, other than just the water?
Decals, water, dogs.
So there is other.
Yeah, it's there's a form, you just go in and you type in the person's name, the dollar amount you want to charge, and you put in the credit card information. You type in the card number,
So we wouldn't be able to just put the card in and run it?
You might be able to get a, I don't do that, I do it all on the computer, but you might be able to get a swiper that you can just, but again, at least I can reach out and see if they'll come in and. So Ted, that's what he said, that he thought that would help a lot in the reconciling of the cash if we went to that. But at this point, I don't know if Miranda has gone any farther, but when I spoke with him a couple weeks ago, he had said they had gotten through February, which is probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So. And then the only other thing I want to bring up is I don't do Facebook, but I'm hearing that there's comments all over Facebook about the board not paying the bills. And some of them have been specifically about board members that voted against paying the bills. I want to make it clear, everybody here I think was in the room that day, but I want to make it clear, we never voted against paying, we voted to abstain. And the reason is, that's why I gave that paper out to everybody here. There is a process that needs to be followed, and it's there for a reason. It's there to protect the taxpayers and their money to make sure that it is not, getting spent frivolously or incorrectly. So when the information is provided and we can go through the process the way it's laid out by the state, I will be voting to pay the bills. But in the meantime, I voted to abstain for that reason. So I know that nobody here, I don't know if anybody here had a comment about it, but I want to make it clear, it's not about, we know these bills are due, and it's very uncomfortable not to pay them, to know they weren't going to get paid. But I don't think Ed or I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think either one of us is trying to say to anybody that we do business with here in the town of Shelby that we don't take it seriously about getting them paid. And I know there was a letter to the board about it. I don't know if you've reached out to Joe.
Your name has been, your two were mentioned.
Okay, I did reach out to Joe, and I explained because he does work for me personally. So I reached out to him and explained the situation, but I think there is a misconception out there about what happened, and I just want to make that clear.
As a matter of fact, there was a couple bills that were due in March, April.
Oh, yeah.
They passed the bills. Bills were passed back then.
Yeah, that was his accounting error.
It was?
That was Joe's accounting error.
Because when I asked him,
they didn't get paid. That's what I understood, is what he told Miranda. His accounting software, something happened.
Okay, because when I talked to him, he said that those two had been submitted on time based on the date on the top of the invoice. So one was, I think, in March and one was in June. And so if those bills, and I said to him, if you submitted them on time, they should have been approved for payment because those months were paid. So I don't know why they didn't get included.
I know it probably happened when the vouchers were transferred over. Like, I don't know if you noticed some of the legal bills we got like 5, 6, 7 legal bills, and
Yeah.
Just the top voucher was paid. None of the rest of the vouchers were paid. I don't know if you realize that. Same thing with a couple other.
You mean only the one invoice was on the voucher form?
Yeah, I only saw the one, didn't pay all the rest of the vouchers.
That
could have happened with Joe. I'm not saying it did.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
So
he submitted 4
Why
bills.
weren't they paid?
because he's saying they were not on the cover page, but I'm saying that let me step back and ask, because I don't even know how this works. When an invoice comes in, does it go to the bookkeeper first to get entered in the computer, and then it goes to the claim voucher process, and then it's approved? So after Darlene gives us the vouchers on the claim form, and we go through, and you guys say, yes, we're going to pay them, then they go to the bookkeeper, and she has to put all 100 of those in a day and get them?
No, Darlene puts them into Williamson, and Williamson does the abstract.
So those invoices get entered into Williamson by Darlene?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that doesn't seem right. I would think that's got to be done by the bookkeeper because she understands. I mean, that's an accounts payable function, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Hemingway, you know accounts payable.
She's not supposed to pay the bills.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, she doesn't pay the bill. She does the vouchers. Miranda pays the bill.
But the voucher... It's my understanding, and I think I sent, if I didn't send this to you guys, I'll find it. But there is also Lori DeMasi also gave me a understanding of the vouchers process. Darlene is not supposed to do the vouchers. She's supposed to just put the number on them, like literally the number in the top corner, so that we have a sequential number list, we know what order, that we haven't skipped anything. That's all she's supposed to do. She's not supposed to put the voucher into the system. I think I think we should look at that. I think that's something. Of course, I guess if we're going to a third party, it's not going to matter because they're gonna do it. But
Yeah, they'll be doing all that stuff. So.
but then what? So then help me with that. So now you've got this packet, right, with a claim voucher on the top. There might have been 5 legal bills, but only 1 got paid. Okay. Then the check gets cut.
For that one, not
Right.
for all of them. Yeah.
But when the check got cut, nobody thought to look at it and say, I've got 5 bills
We
here.
found it after the board meeting. It's like, what's all these other extra vouchers that are on there that aren't paid for?
Okay, and then what happens? They had to go back into the next month to be
Yeah.
paid in this? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we never caught shows, so maybe, I'm not saying that's what happened, but maybe that's what happened. His were all, might have been stapled together or.
But that was I'm just concerned because one is from March and one is from June. I mean, if it was the last month, if one was July and it didn't get paid in August, I could understand that.
Yeah.
But it seems like and I don't know whether he reached out. I didn't ask him. I don't know whether he reached out to somebody
No,
and
because
it
we would have
didn't get
questioned it
paid.
immediately. We would have checked on it immediately if he would have said something.
So in the meantime, since he did reach out with a letter, did somebody go find the invoices? Are they getting in the packet
Darlene's been on vacation, so I don't know.
So she has them all?
She should have all the vouchers, yeah. She can't, no, all the vouchers, Pam, all the vouchers are in the vault?
Locked cabinet.
Yeah, they're all in the clerk's office. Everything's kept there.
Okay, so she'll have to go through month by month and try to find that invoice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even, is Miranda still active or no?
She works afternoons, yeah. She comes in and helps me with stuff.
Okay, so can't she go in and look and see if those invoice numbers?
Not unless Darlene's here.
I
'Cause
guess
the stuff's locked up. Darlene has keys.
you don't have a key to the cabinets?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Clerk has to be here to have access to that. So.
okay. All right.
Yeah, also Sunshine Mowing had a issue. He wasn't paid either. Was it May and June, I think?
May, June, and July.
And we passed the bills in. I don't understand why he wasn't paid. And he cut service now for I don't know how long.
I don't know.
Is Jeff not coming tonight?
Apparently not.
Oh, okay. Okay, you
That's it,
thought he
Erica.
was, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay. Well, I don't know how, I mean, I specifically, I think you were on it. I don't know, Kathy, I don't know if Kathy was copied or Scott, maybe you were copied from somebody that reached out specifically to Ed and I.
He just texted.
Oh,
me.
that was
Yeah, I
thought it
know
was
who
tomorrow.
clerk clerk. Yeah, that's another question.
So why would people be reaching out to me?
I couldn't tell you. Honestly. I closed my 2 stores for the last 2 weeks. I've been moving my stores. I stop in to see if Pam needs anything or Darlene needs
So
anything.
were people calling here and asking about where their payments were?
Yes.
And what were they told?
I didn't handle it. Darlene did.
That's okay. I'm just wondering what they were
She was being as diplomatic as she could and said that at the next board meeting, everything should be okay.
But there was no mention of specific people, or, I'm just curious why people would be reaching out to me individually.
No, the court clerks go on, the schooling they go to.
Mhm.
Why would she be putting her, all that stuff on her personal credit card? The town's got a credit card for her, don't they?
No, she don't have a credit card. I think Dale has one.
Yeah,
Darlene
but
has one.
shouldn't she have one? If it's something to do with the town, she ought to have a credit card to use.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was that Pat or who was that?
Yeah, it was Pat, yeah.
I'm sure the judge has a credit card. Town credit card.
You know, she was worried about getting her credit card paid on time because she put it on her personal credit card. She shouldn't have to
No, she should have been able to
use the town credit card. I
If the-
don't know why you ain't
if
not
the-
using it.
If the judge doesn't have a card, couldn't she use your card because then when the bill comes in, you just charge
Yeah.
it to her department. Like the money's all coming out, you know, it's still within the town. But yeah, I think
It's a good question.
people should not be using
No.
personal cards for town business. I mean, it's not a good, I'm not even sure this, Kathy, you would know, but I'm not sure the state. I think they might frown on that, since there's credit card points and cash back and all
Right.
that kind of stuff on cards now. I would think that's probably not something that they want to see happen.
Well, she had to pay for it anyways, right? On the trip? And then you vouch?
No,
I don't know, because I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
that,
don't
I mean,
Yeah.
I look at so many invoices in the course of a month
Yeah.
that
We
I
can-
don't
I'll
know.
find out if we can use.
I mean,
different
certainly
credit
anything
card.
that can be paid in advance on a card should be paid in
Right.
advance. And then there's certain things you're not going to be able to, meals or, you know, that's different. Even hotels can be paid, even though you don't have the card there. The hotel will send you an authorization form that you can sign and say, yes, this person can charge their hotel room to this card, even though they physically don't have the card. So, I mean, as much of that should be done as possible, so. And then the only other question I have is, did we find out about the Verizon bill? What was with the two phone numbers for
One
one
is
person?
Dan's and one is Dale's.
There was three
of them.
numbers. The
Three numbers?
two said Dale and one
Yeah.
said Dan.
Dale's only got one phone, I asked him.
There was two numbers on his
We're
name.
paying for two phone numbers.
Huh.
We definitely are.
You know what
paying-
that is, Pam? Oh, chance?
I asked Dale about that, and he said he does have two phones.
He does.
Yes.
He told me one.
I
Okay.
think Miranda said that too at one of the very first board meetings when I asked about the Verizon bill and getting the details. She said the only Dale and Dan each had a phone. There was only two.
And there's one that the
Paying for
guys
three.
use when they go out in the truck.
Oh, so that's the third.
Yes.
It's in the third. Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's what it is. One for the guys, one for Dale, one for Dan.
Why would the guys, I mean, how does that work?
Well, if they get out to a job site and there's a problem,
Yeah.
they need to be able to get a hold of Dale.
Yeah, but suppose you
Yeah,
have
they
two
got-
guys out at two different sites, who
Yeah.
gets the phone?
They got their own phone anyways they use for town.
I don't
I'm
know
just
how-
wondering,
Yeah.
it seems odd to me, because if you've got that, now, you know, one guy's gonna get a phone and the other three don't, they're, what? Right? I
Are they
mean,
usually separated like that, or do they usually work as a group?
What's that?
Are they usually separated in different jobs, or are they usually working as a group?
They could be separated at any time. I mean, Billy could be mowing and they could have two trucks paving, you know, so.
Yeah, but if we start telling them, you carry your own phone, call us if you need us, then we're into paying for their phones. I've seen it happen.
yeah.
You already
Right.
do, sorry.
Are all the phones active, are they? Or, I mean, they're all usable?
What,
All three of them?
all three what?
All the three cell phones that we're paying for, are they active?
Well, one of them, and I didn't write the numbers down, one of them had no usage at all.
Right. Yeah, there was no,
So,
I
why,
I knew Dale had one, I knew that, Dan had one, but that was the only ones that I knew was two phones.
Yeah.
I mean, if they need it, they need it, but I don't wanna see a phone up there on our bill for $40, $50, $60 a month, whatever it is,
not being used.
and not being used.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't even know he had two.
Yeah. So maybe can you find that out for the meeting on Tuesday? Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, Eddie?
Yeah, I got a notification, I was probably in the hub, about the water districts in all the towns. Town of Shelby doesn't have their water districts, the rates published at all. Why is that?
I don't know.
Every town's got water districts, and they got fire protection, lighting.
Yeah, I would think we'd wanna,
No, we don't have our water districts on there.
Were they ever on there?
They weren't
guys
last
ever
year.
put 'em on
They
there
weren't
before?
last year either, I don't think.
have they been in the past though?
I don't know.
They have?
Hmm.
Ms. Barone says yes, they've been there in the past.
You guys used to do that?
Not that I know
Okay.
But obviously it's public knowledge,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
probably in good faith, we should post them.
Yeah, well, it's gotta be public knowledge.
And,
And who would that be? That would be,
What's that?
for publishing that stuff.
it's Orleans County, it says on here.
I would imagine we could call somebody up there and they'd tell you. I'm sorry, who? Dawn Allen.
What were we looking for, Ed? Oh, the water.
Town of Shelby doesn't
Yeah.
have their water district rates listed on this paper. It's just got the fire protection and, lighting district. There's no water districts. The other towns got all their water districts.
Were we gonna talk about something with the new sign, or were we just waiting for a full board to vote on that? The new sign
The
up
sign
front?
up front.
No, we did that last meeting.
We did vote for it?
Yeah, you guys voted for it, yeah. I don't even know if we, I told Dale, bond people called, wanna know about bonding the truck. I told Dale to get all the information, cause he's working on the bed and the plows. So depending on how much we wanna bond and how long we wanna bond. But I told him to have all that as soon as possible so I can get it to you guys before the board meeting.
So the truck's here now?
Truck's been here for like a month, I don't know, 2-3 weeks,
Yeah,
something like that.
probably a month.
But it's gonna be another year. If we can get a bond, they said they'll put us to the front of the line, but they said 27 or 28 to have the new bed plows put on the truck. 26 or 27, I'm sorry.
So we're not gonna have a plow on it for another year?
No, it's just gonna sit in the parking lot for a year till they can.
Hey Kathy, in order to get a bond, don't you have to provide audited financial statements?
I think so.
They said
I
we
don't-
were,
Do bonding work, but I believe so.
I would think so,
I can check with someone in my office.
and I would think they want current ones, so that would be 2023.
What is our bond rating, by the way? I mean, do we have our rating for the bond? What would it be? Did you find out?
well,
And, did we go over overhead doors yet, or we're gonna wait till the meeting?
no, we put that off for this, right? Isn't that what we did?
I didn't bring that with me, I forgot.
Neither did I.
We discussed it
We
at the
did,
meeting, but I don't think we went through with.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we left it, there was
There's a couple,
one,
or one of these companies are using the existing,
I thought most of them all were,
Yeah,
right?
they're all gonna use the
All
existing
using the
metal on
upper,
the,
I think if you look in their, way I read it, they were all using the upper parts of the existing runners.
cause we can't get the,
how about the springs?
no, I think they're replacing the track, the upright track and the springs, but they can't replace the metal that's, it's either welded or the brackets that hold the whole door frame up. That's staying, but they're gonna put new upright tracks in the
so
door.
there's two pieces to the track, a piece that comes up and then the curved
Mhm.
piece.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a problem to replace part of it, not the other part? I mean, I don't know, I'm way out of my.
I think
wheelhouse
that
here.
they bid it all basically the same, I thought, when we read
Yeah,
it.
but should we be replacing the whole thing just because they didn't
Oh.
bid it that way? I mean, do we want to spend all that money on a door only to find out that it doesn't work real well because,
Well, myself, I would've liked to seen all new tracking on it.
well, I guess that's what
I
I'm
mean, the
asking.
doors are heavy, her big doors are heavy.
Well, that's what I'm
You
asking,
know.
shouldn't we have, I mean, I guess for me personally, I'd like to see at least the difference in the quote from one to the other. If you're talking $5,000, that's one thing. If you're talking, $60,000 to change it, that might be another thing.
Yeah.
I think
I don't,
one is using the existing tension spring on one of the, or a couple of the doors, and this one here, I think is they're, replacing both of them. I'll have to look over a little closer.
And because there was quite a difference in the bids, wasn't there, Ed, when you
Yeah.
looked at them?
Yeah.
Because I think it was when the spring replacement it made it quite a bit more with the track on it.
Yeah. Now we'll have to wait and discuss that at the meeting, I guess.
So in less than 3 weeks, the first budget is due, right? Your tentative, department head owe you their budget by September 20th.
Yeah.
Are we gonna, I don't know how that was done last year, but I personally would like to at least be able to sit in on those presentations by the department heads so that we understand the detail that's in each budget line.
Yeah, we're gonna publicize, we're gonna go public with those.
Okay,
It'll
perfect.
be on YouTube live.
Okay.
What were we just talking about?
Oh, the
Oh,
overhead
The
doors.
tension springs on the doors. I know this one company is putting new springs on, or this other one, I don't think they were planning on putting springs on.
I know they looked at all the equipment and were figuring out what was good and what was bad, but they all said they couldn't replace the bracing that was up top, the metal.
But isn't the bracing just the piece that holds the track?
I would have thought.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's attached to that bracing or if, I'm not sure how they did it, but however they did it, they said they couldn't do it like that anymore. That's why they were just gonna do the uprights and part of the track and leave the upper track up there. So, it's in.
So I also would want to know then what's the guarantee or warranty on that
Yeah.
if they don't?
Warranty on the doors.
If it
The
doesn't work
issue.
right, if they're telling us they're not gonna be able to.
Or the other thing we could do is just get new panels. Leave the whole framework there and just get new door panels like we did for the door that got damaged last year. Because actually, we'd have to have them look, but there's no weather that hits those.
How long have they been there, the track and the springs and everything? They've been there before,
20,
They've been there a long time.
yeah,
25, 20.
Niagara Mohawk was the original ones, or?
We replaced the doors once since we've been.
And the same thing, Steve, you think just the rails, the straight rails and the doors?
They replaced everything when they replaced them back 20 years ago.
So, okay, so the whole thing. So I guess I'm wondering if they could replace them then.
Well,
or
that's what
maybe
I'm
they-
thinking. I mean, I'd just as soon hold off on the door, looking at the doors, and have them come in and say, hey, okay, the companies that didn't bid it for replacing everything, have them come back and say, hey, look at how much, what's the difference for replacing it all? We don't want to go through this.
Yeah, a complete thing.
Yeah, complete, like the other one did
Yeah,
complete.
we'd like something to last us another 20 or 25
Yeah, right.
years.
I'll do it tomorrow to get a hold of them, come back in and get an estimate on replacing all of the complete system.
I can understand if all three of them said they can't redo the bracing, that's fine. But if we need all new tracking and everything, those doors are really heavy. They're gonna bend.
Yeah.
Look how your doors in a garage get worn out and wheels on them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
Okay,
these things are big.
that works.
Now that we, figured out that we own, Medium in Furnace Parkway, are we starting to mow that now, or?
I don't, have you talked to Dale about that? I haven't talked to him about it.
You know, we agreed back in February that we were gonna do it, and it, for some reason, never started in the spring, never got done.
I know there's some talk about the people that are doing it, but I'm gonna tell you from a liability
Liability,
standpoint,
yeah,
that worries me. If somebody falls off a lawnmower and
yeah.
gets hurt,
We're gonna,
it's gonna be a huge liability for us. And
We
it's
have
a lot
to,
cheaper to have it mowed than to pay a lawsuit.
be prepared for a fight. Because the whole one side of the road doesn't want us up there mowing it.
No, there's two people.
I've talked to a bunch of them.
I
Well,
live there. I know.
it's not their decision, though.
It isn't, because
We are the owner of
we're
the
the ones,
property,
you know,
you know?
we're the
Well,
ones
we
that are
could-
gonna
we
pay the
could pave
price
it,
if there's a
or-
lawsuit.
We could pave it, or we could plant it with wildflowers for the environment. Plant the whole thing, make it a
I
big
just think it's
flower
something
garden.
Shelby has to do.
Yeah.
We cannot leave it. If somebody gets hurt, we're gonna be
Mhm.
not gonna be pretty.
Why don't we tell Dale to come up with some ideas?
Well, why
Some
can't
of
our
us-
guys that are mowing the fire halls and the two ball fields just throw that in on their freaking job description?
Start at one end, mow.
I mean, they're already mowing the ball fields and they're mowing the water vaults and the fire companies and so
And if it's
heck, that little bit ain't gonna make no difference.
That's what I would think. I mean, how long can it take if they just fly down and fly back?
And if it's too much, like next year, when whoever bids the cemeteries and stuff, you know, we can add that on if the boys don't have enough time to do it, so.
I think our guys could do it. It's just maybe 1 or 2 passes at the 70-inch mower or something like that. That'd be.
I think it was a 72 inch or something.
I think it's a big mower. I don't see why they couldn't.
It wouldn't take them.
And I know I'm not supposed to talk, but the only problem they're gonna have is in front of my house, where the ditch, there's a ditch. And the pipes
All
are
right,
out
John.
there. They're all.
I appreciate it. There's no comment in the workshop. We understand that. We're aware of that. I talked to Dale about it.
Well, that leads me to the next question, I guess, up there. So the soil and water,
Yeah.
is she saying, we didn't see the email, but is she saying that it can be drained off at the end, or what is she?
I don't remember what the email was, but I talked to Dale and he was getting a hold of her and he was gonna brief us at the board meeting.
Okay.
I said we need an answer on what we're gonna do with
Yeah.
this. Cause one of the things was putting the tile out into Roberts Field. They go, no, absolutely not, cause we'll be in court immediately if we drain everything in Todd Roberts Field. We can't do that.
Todd Roberts is the one starting the whole, no, I'm just kidding.
What else, Ed?
I guess that's.
I got one more that I thought of, I'm sorry. So while we're looking at LGSS and we have a quote from them, unless you know this, I'm gonna ask them that when I reach out. Their quote for September through December is 20,000. But the quote for all of next year is only little over 33,000.
Yeah.
How is it we're paying $5,000 a month this year and only like $1,300 a month?
I guess that's something you can check with them on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you knew that.
No,
In case
I
they,
don't
okay.
I don't have an answer.
And then my other question, and this is for us, so we've paid so much out so far for bookkeeping. Now we're gonna pick up a service and we're still gonna have a secretary. How are we gonna be compared to our budget?
Well, the secretary's, we'll fall short of the budget because she's scheduled full-time for the rest of the year, which she won't be.
Yeah, but you're picking up them.
Yeah. Yeah.
At 20,000.
Yeah.
So I'd have to sit down and calculate what Miranda's salary is during that 4 months, but I guess what I'm asking is this 20,000 equivalent to part-time of her salary? Because otherwise, we are going to go over in the budget.
Well, for next year's budget, we'll have to budget for it, yeah, the increase.
Yes, but this year, do we have enough to cover it, is what I'm asking, because we can't go over. So before we get to December and find out we're negative, I think that's what I'm just asking this. We need to check and be sure that.
Oh, okay. It wasn't clicking what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yeah,
Whatever-
4 months left.
Yeah.
Whatever she's been
Whatever
paid
she was making.
so
for
far this year, you'll have a year-to-date off her payroll report, plus 20,000 to them, plus whatever her future earnings are. And is this 20 to 25 hours secretary position, is that a month?
No, that'd be a week. I don't think it's gonna be that much, but.
That would concern me.
Do you have a job description she's gonna be doing, or?
Everything but bookkeeping. I'm sure I can find one.
Because I think we're gonna have to know that if we're gonna
Yeah.
determine a salary, right? I don't think you can just necessarily take it at the current rate, because the responsibilities are changed now. You
Yeah.
take them up, and that would concern me.
The board is gonna need to vote on a new salary at the next meeting.
Because if that is true, then you're saying that there was only 15 hours a week on bookkeeping and IT
Yeah.
and HR or whatever. But I hopefully you are misadjusting that.
Yeah.
But I think I think once you get a job description and we know what exactly is being done, we'll be able to determine how many hours that is, and then, because you can't really determine a salary without a job description.
Right.
We're gonna have to, figure out the funding for Dresser Merrick also.
Yes, because they're gonna come out of basically that pool too. and we've capped them at 16. But so between the two firms, we could be looking at $36,000
Right.
just for those two for this year.
This year.
Which we can do a resolution to move money from general fund or a different fund to pay for those.
I'm sorry, general, or what was the other one?
I'm not sure which fund we would pick, but we could probably do it out of the general fund. Or we could, I don't know if we could use the interest we've made already off of New York class to pay for that.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something I'd have to
Something
look
we'd
at.
There must be some kind of reserve that we can tap.
Yeah, I'll have to check. And now GSS's fees, all right. Steve, you got anything?
No.
Jeff, you got? Okay, so you're gonna get a hold of LGSS?
Yes, and I will get a hold of Genesis for the credit card processing.
And their system has to work with Williamson too.
Yeah, I think what it's gonna be is I'll have to maybe talk to Joe and understand how that works. It's a link they're gonna put in our website or wherever that, and when they click that link, they'll get redirected to them, a secure site for the credit card processing, and the person paying will just fill in their name and card number and, water amount or whatever it is they need.
A normal secure process.
Yes, they should be able to capture all the same information the current system is doing.
Well, what are we gonna do on the bills that didn't get paid?
Well, if Jeff was here tonight, I guess you could have voted on them, but
Well, we'll have to vote on next month's meeting then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna see our credit rating go down, and
I don't either, Steve, but I told
and
you.
I don't wanna see us
I
getting debted from creditors,
Yeah, I agree, but I cannot, in good conscience, cut any corners. That tells you right here what you have to.
I just hate to see us get,
That's why I think we need to push Drescher and Malecki. We need to, get, we better pick a firm pretty quick to get started on the
New
month-to-month stuff so that we can, feel comfortable about, but you weren't here the last meeting, but we had did you ever find out about that invoice? Were you able to find out about that one invoice? There's a $33,000 invoice.
The wrong coded one.
Yeah.
That was a wrong code.
But it was coded to an account that had $1,500 in the budget, and it was $33,000. And we were ready to sign and go ahead and pay everything.
was that on that water valve or something?
And I don't remember what the invoice was for. I look at so many invoices in a month between here and work.
I thought that's what we were discussing last month, the meeting was the water valve, or 33,000 or
Yeah, it
35,000.
was coded wrong, yeah. It was
And that
wrong.
was coded wrong.
Yeah.
Was it that or?
I think that's, well,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, you were at that meeting. It was Jeff that was not.
I thought that was
Sorry,
the
yes,
right
yes.
thing.
yes. But without having the financial statements, we can't be sure that things are. That's how you're gonna catch if something is miscoded. Because you'll be able to look at a statement and say, there is no money left in this line. Had that line been 35,000, we might have paid it, but we wouldn't have known that there might have been 30,000 already used in it.
Well, if the money's there and it's coded right, then we should pay for it, right?
If the money's there, but how do you know it's there without seeing the report?
And hopefully that somebody will have a report worth to pay it.
Well, I've been through this, and trust me when I tell you, these procedures are here for a reason. They don't just make them up to make people's lives miserable. And you need to follow those procedures to make sure. And I think right in here, the very first sentence, auditing claims demands more than a rubber stamp. And they go on to tell you, and I think at one point back here, I read this a week ago, they go on to tell you why you do it. It helps to prevent fraud.
Well,
I'm not saying
I believe
anybody's
you,
doing it, but
I just hated to see us not pay.
I do too.
Kathy, you got anything?
No, I don't have anything. I mean,
All right, So I'm good to go on signing the contract tomorrow for
yes.
Drescher? Okay.
Yes.
And
I would just emphasize, we do need to get people going on the bookkeeping and the finances because you guys need that information and those reports.
Yeah.
And to be 9 months into the year and not have that we need to
Yep.
get somebody moving on it ASAP.
I'll call Nicole tomorrow after I sign that. I'll send you and her a copy. So just the last one you sent me from her, that's good to go.
Yes.
That's the one you guys got. So, okay,
I noticed there was a email regarding appeals on a FOIA that's supposed to be due the 6th. We're gonna be deciding on that here by Friday.
which foil?
Uh,
Is that the one from
Kathy,
Dina Barone?
Yeah, didn't Kathy just send us something?
yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna everything was in the folder you guys looked at. Just the correct copies weren't made and sent to her. So,
Do we have to do an appeals meeting?
no, we just give her the information she wanted. Everything was in the folder. So it just wasn't copied correctly.
Okay.
So we just give her the information. I mean, the appeal, she wins the appeal automatically because we have the information. It just wasn't completely copied.
Okay, so it's just a mistake in
Yeah.
what she was sent. Okay.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
and just to clarify on that too, FOIL is not, the purpose of FOIL is to obtain documents. It's not to respond to questions. So to the extent her appeal, relates to the fact that certain questions weren't answered, there's no obligation to answer questions under FOIL. All you have to do is provide documents. So yes, to the extent something was overlooked, just get her the document and that should take care of it.
Okay. Thanks, Kathy. You gonna be here Tuesday?
Yes, I will be there Tuesday.
All right. We'll see you then.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Do we have to vote to close this?
No, it's a workshop.
Oh yes, you got to vote to
No,
close
not on a
it and I
workshop.
need to stop recording.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes, you got to vote to close it and then I will stop recording.
Okay. I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, we're closed. We're closed. Thanks.
Recording stopped.
Jimmy, I'll get the 250 on their union
Yeah,
contract.
turn my phone back on.
Hey, Linda, you,
He came in today.
oh, I got an answer
Billy
to that.
Marjanowski, thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Wait, don't leave, Pam.
Can I give that to you? Oh, that's good that my dog has.
Yannick did a foil for 2 months.
Yeah.
We made the copies. We sanitized them. He came in, he sat down, he reviewed the bills. She charged him for what he wanted. He grabbed the other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If he had them for a week, he'd come back.
All right.
No, I want the other ones. These are the wrong ones. I asked Kathy, and Kathy goes, no, he's gotta pay for the ones he took.
That's what I thought.
If he wants the other ones, he's gotta pay for them.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the stuff you redacted was wrong.
I didn't read that.
Whoever redacted too much. Because you can't redact everything. You
No.
called me and wanted to know about the legal bills. You can't redact the
Just account
entire
numbers.
description.
No, just
You
account
only
numbers.
take out names. If there's
Yeah.
names in there, you
just
take out
names
names.
and,
You just don't take out the purpose
anything
of what
legal.
the charge was for, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you read that? Darlene read that.
I did,
Okay, all right.
according to what she told me.
Oh, okay.
She said, take out all names, all addresses, the subject, and leave the
Okay.
prices in there.
But the subject is on the top of the invoice.
Yeah.
It says, this whole invoice is gonna pertain to, let's say, stamp project, right? That's the subject of the bill. And then within the bill, you would take out, like, if my name was listed or Scott's name was listed, but everything else in the description, like if it says, reviewed stamp legal documents for public hearing, you don't redact that.
No.
But
And that's
I-
not anybody's name.
you're right,
or-
100%, Linda, I agree with you, but if she doesn't do exactly what she's told, I hear her screaming in my office.
Yeah.
But I just wanna let you know that when Pam separated the piles, Yannick grabbed the wrong pile and went out.
And you could see they were looked at.
Yeah.
Because they were crumpled and they were,
And he came in yelling at her that he wanted the other ones, he had the other ones, and I go, let me call Kathy, find out what we gotta do, and Kathy said he pays for the ones he took. If he wants the other ones, he has to pay for those too. Did he pay for the ones?
The short stack with all the attorney stuff is still here that he wants.
Those are the ones he paid for.
Yes.
He didn't pay for the big stack.
No.
So he owes us money for the big stack.
$36.45.
Well, he's gonna when he comes in, just let him know that he has
Yeah.
to pay for that.
He
was in here
took them, or
today.
because that's not the way I heard it. I heard
I wasn't
that
here,
he
so
was given the wrong stack.
You tell
No.
Linda.
Okay, I'm just telling you
They
what
were
I
in one pile. He came in here and argued with me, he didn't have to pay for it.
He doesn't. If he sits in here and looks at it, he doesn't pay for them.
Thank you.